kick this one off. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming back our casters. It's Kent, it's Excoundrel, and it's Humanist.
Thank you very much, Munchables, and I think we're very excited as well. A little bit of a regional matchup here for our first professionals. And there they are, your first professional Vainglory players on the rise. Now, how would we expect things to switch up here, having these guys out on the map?
Again, these guys have had a bit more practice with 5v5. They are our professional players. They're supposed to innovate. They're going to take new tactics to the extreme. I know that the SEA guys have been playing a protect the spaghetti style composition. They have a split pusher. They have 4 members that are designed to help peel and protect spaghetti on this barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's pretty great that I think this is really going to be telling. We're going to see which region decides to play what type of composition. And as you can see, East Asia, they have a very dive-heavy composition along with a lot of range.
Look at this. We have both teams splitting up to either side of the jungle. So we're going to have 2 different jungle starts, and both the teams are doing the same thing. Vivi Royale over here with Vivi Kiz on the bottom side of the map. They look like they're going for a traditional ranged carry support style lane. You're going to have Mango in the mid lane on Celeste. 1 camp taken by the duo top, it looks, of almost Koshka and Ingenious. I imagine one of those will retain their jungle position, but looks like they're potentially going to be sharing that jungle experience early on, and actually even more so with Vivi Royale and Vivi Kiz.
Yeah, actually, you might have seen that compass rose in the middle of the map. It really helps you determine where on the map you are. We wanted to make sure when we were designing this map that no matter what you were doing, you would immediately be able to tell where you are in the rise.
I mean, there's so much going on here that it kind of just helps you orient yourself, and I really like that as far as the overall design. Something else I really like, Mango in the lane.
Oh,
Dreams
buddy.
do come true.
And Celeste as well. Mango on his Celeste. Ingenious already starting to put pressure. Uni and Chingy looking for a bit of a early lane shove onto Ingenious here.
And it looks like Ingenious will be just fine. He did have to pop that healing flask, but he will be okay. He has that Book of Eulogies, just needs to get some last hits.
Look at all that vision control, all those scout cams around our Japanese bot lane. Huge amount of pressure on the bot lane. Varia now has got, working towards that alternating current build with some minion candies in tow, really taking advantage of what the lane pressure can do.
Yeah, it's actually a very interesting build. And one of the great things is that, watch, as the players are moving forward, as they are buying their items, it's actually very telling on who is winning those lanes. Because when you're forced back, you have an opportunity to purchase, but it means you might get shoved into your turret.
Yeah, you have a longer time period or longer distance to get back to the lane, so therefore those backs have got to be more well-timed, especially before that jungle shot becomes available.
Yeah, you should be absolutely sure that if you're backing, you have a very good reason for it. Because right now, you might see Ingenious might be losing some CS right there.
I think it's really interesting. Like, obviously we have our junglers here, and you want to be taking your region camps, but you can do those really interesting things, right? So you give it to one laner, you can prioritize another, and then just move through the map or stay in the lane. Right here, things are a little bit more quiet than our PBE match.
Yeah, they are a little bit more calculated. The PBE guys, they loved to brawl. They look for those fights all the time, but this is a more traditional style of play you'd expect from our pro players, a bit more calculated. PQQ looking for an opportunity to go aggressive here. Will get spotted out by that scout cam. Suddenly, counter jungling is a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, you can see right now, Chingy spotted by scout cam too, so very well placed by Mango, making sure that if there's a game coming, he'll be just fine.
It's a delicious mid lane right here.
Chingy's looking for that afterburn.
And he's got the stun there. Stormforge Spear from downtown. He got him. First blood, SEA.
Look at that combination. Chingy's gonna...
PQQ's here, though. Healing flash from Chingy. This is PQQ. He has the movement speed. He has the damage. One more attack will be able to take him down. Look at that. Healing is so good. PQQ able to finally get a kill. Jump jets in. Royale comes into the lane. SNK is going to be looking for some hook and chains. Misses his first. That's a pretty long cooldown. It looks like he will respect the power of East Asia.
East Asia has adapted really well. When they started off playing against SEA and scrims, they were getting crushed, and they seem to have really adapted to how they want to play this early game. They are playing Vivi Royale on Baron. Now, Baron is a very strong hero in 5v5. You thought splash damage basic attacks were good in 3v3. Splash damage basic attacks in 5v5 are even more so.
A little bit of a stun coming out. Kiz peeling for his teammate there. But as you said, obviously the splash damage is going to be huge. I would expect to see this SEA team kind of stay spread out to avoid taking that damage, though.
Yeah, just look at the minimap, though. East Asia doing a very good job dropping those scout counts all across the map. Southeast Asia, they do have a couple on their side, but you do see they're placing a few more down. And it's really interesting seeing what the priorities are for both of these teams.
This is what I mean about gank positions. Look at Chingy. He's coming in from almost next to the turret right there, looking for that opportunity to get an afterburn again onto Mango to give an advantage over to Spaghetti. Spaghetti is likely going to be the hero on Varia that they play around this composition. They might leave Vox in the side lane split pushing.
I think it's so cool, especially with this fog of war. You can really tell exactly where and when your opponents will see you coming, as long as you do have a scout cam down for yourself and know that you're not being seen. These guys are just pushing it to the max, hanging out right on the edge of these walls.
So Chingy is doing a lot of roaming around the map here, just making to look sure he impacts every single lane. Junglers are so impactful in 5v5 because you have so many more decisions. As a jungler in 3v3, you would gank one lane, or you'd gank on counter jungle your opponent's jungle. Now you can gank bot, mid, top, counter jungle both sides. You can do a hell of a lot of stuff on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the great things about being a jungler, or even a support or a roam, is that you can put so much pressure just by not being on the map. If your opponents can't see you, they're scared.
Exactly. There are only limited places that you could really be on the 3v3 map. Now there are infinitely more possibilities where you could actually be in those vision, those scout cams. That is what's going to allow you to be able to push a lane without fear, be able to look for counter jungling opportunities, because if you're just not on the map, if you're in that fog of war, no one knows where you are.
I think it also makes abilities like your Heliogenesis pretty powerful as well, to be able to hang back and throw that down, to see who's lurking in that brush and keep yourself safe. Actually, Mango can stay on an island, you see, by himself pretty well. There's 3 heroes from both teams down in this bottom lane. PQQ is looking to maybe play around. He knows that Chingy's hanging out in that brush. Now, here is exactly what you can see. This is East Asia, doesn't have the vision in the brush there. We're kind of toggling that vision on and off, just to let you know exactly how that's working out for this team.
No reflex blocks currently on SNK or on Aeon, and PQQ is now level 6, that classic Koshka level 6. You can look for an engage with that Yummy Catnip Frenzy, look to combo off the heavy damage that VV Royale has invested in. 2 6-ins and a heavy steal. He will hit pretty hard. There's the vision for PQQ.
PQQ, have you overstepped yourself? Sure does look like it. Spaghetti takes him down. Hits him with the first chain lightning there. It's pretty tasty. Southeast Asia up 2-1, and a lot of pressure coming out here.
And Zekan, what we're seeing here is a true laning phase for Vainglory. You know, a real period of the game where you as a laner have a direct impact on how you perform and your team performs.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something that we very much wanted to ensure that we had in Vainglory's 5v5. We wanted to make sure that if you enjoy that laning phase, you had the opportunity. But if you like those roams, you can do those too.
There's really smart vision that just went down. 7 minutes and 20 seconds, they dropped the scout cam. Blackclaw has landed. So you can already see the high strategical value of this item coming out here with these pro teams.
And EA have really adapted to those timings, knowing that Blackclaw is a very powerful objective. If you look back to that PBE online game that we just saw, a single Blackclaw take pushed all the way through to the armory. So it is such an important objective to retain control of.
Yeah, those objectives on the map, both Ghostwing and Blackclaw, the longer the game goes, the stronger they are. So if you get those in the 20-minute, 25-minute mark, they're incredibly powerful for your team. However, early on, they'll do some good pushing still.
Yeah. Looks like Uni up in the top lane. Poison Shift build. Not much changing for Vox in this circumstance. Ingenious working towards a Serpent's Mask. So the Poison Shift versus the Serpent's Mask up in the top lane. Vivi is left by himself right now. And I've got to say, Aeon and SNK, they are not letting up on the push.
Why would they at this point? I mean, they have control. It's exactly what you want to do. You want to control that lane, especially with you have Chingy rotating around from the top to the bottom. By the time your jungler shows up, if you have control of the lane, you're ready to capitalize.
Yeah, EA is actually playing a very tempered game right now. Ingenious and PQQ running into Chingy could be a little bit dangerous.
They were looking for a roam. They're looking for a roam to get onto Spaghetti, because Spaghetti has been unhindered in his farm. They're going to continue here. Block comes through.
Nice block on that Yummy Catnip Frenzy. Ingenious will be able to get back here. SNK making the rotation up into the lane. Right there, Chingy actually dropped down his scout cam, revealing his opponents. That's why he didn't get ganked there. Now Chingy goes in, bursts down. They juggle that damage and manage to stay alive. So huge plays out of East Asia there.
Yeah, Chingy going a little bit over-aggressive. Those turrets hit really hard. You have to be very aware of them. But again, the damage has already been done to the EA composition. VV Kiz has got to essentially roam up here to prevent this turret going down. It is a slow, grinding process for SEA, but they are slowly winning the mid and the bot lane pushes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such an incredibly important thing in this game. If your turret is under siege, you need to be able to rotate to help your allies. Push out your lane, rotate to another lane, make sure that those turrets do not fall.
Spaghetti with that chain lightning is going to continue to shove these waves. You thought Varia was good at shoving lanes in 3v3. She's darn good at shoving lanes in 5v5 as well.
That she is. However, Vivica is doing some good work chasing down Spaghetti.
Yeah, I think just a nice harass there. So, of course, when your laner does make it back out, suddenly he has the advantageous position. A lot of damage coming out here, Minion Candy. It's just a slow siege, and this turret will be going down fairly soon if he doesn't get a little bit of reinforcements. Kiz finally here. They'll block off the stun. It's going to be quite all right for now. And they're not going to be diving just yet. Now, Trespass stun coming in, but the Fountain's out. Royal stays alive. PQQ is now here. Fearsome Shade peels them off. That was definitely a kill, but the Yummy Cat and Frenzy comes in. They got the stun. Now the chase is on. Porcupine Mortars, the splash damage. Aeon, you're in a dangerous place. Jump Jets, he will go down. That was going to be the Koshka picking up the kill there. A little Torment back. East Asia taking a lot of damage from the turret. They peel off. A nice engage.
Yeah, but they have lots of commitment to this top lane, and they get a turret for it. This is classic 5v5 strategy. You draw attention to a side lane, and you take something elsewhere on the map. I've got to say, I've been impressed with PQQ, though, using that heavy movement speed buff that Koshka has to navigate this map, the very big, expansive map that 5v5 is, to look to roam and impact, counter gank as well. He's been so good.
Yeah, that's an incredibly important point. Being able to be at the right place at the right time is much harder in a 5v5.
And Humanist, 100% kill participation for PQQ. He knows how to navigate, he knows where those pressure points are, and it's very intuitive. He's picked it up already.
You're pretty good at math as well, Scoundrel. I do appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons, of course, we have you here. And, you know, another thing, we see a lot of heroes piling up in the mid lane. They make these rotations to top and to bottom so incredibly fast, moving with that River Uni, dancing around Ingenious, putting out the damage. We're going to look for an on-point. No, he jumps in Fate of Heart, just chops him down. Chingy made the rotation around the bottom side. That's where their vision was. Spaghetti as well. And they're going to look to kind of cut him off here? No.
I think they're going to leave him as he is.
Looks like Anvil's Hammer is actually going to be coming through.
Yeah, tried to use that ultimate. Couldn't quite find him, but again, you know, something that's very interesting to note is usually when you play in 3v3 and you're up against a Baron, for instance, it gets to a certain point in the game, you know you're just not in a good position. Wait a second, they're going for a mid lane turret take. What a quick rotation from EA, and SEA put on the back burner a little bit.
Yeah, this is exactly what I want to see out of these teams, being able to take advantage of their opponent's missteps. East Asia moving very quickly and rotating down.
Great rotation from East Asia.
Yeah, they have cut off the retreat. SNK's in a bad place. Can he keep himself alive? He's pretty tanky. No, he will go down. Now, all 5 of East Asia as a Solar Storm tears on through. They've taken 2 kills. Now what's the objective?
And this objective-focused play is exactly what we want to see. They're bringing time so that even though Southeast Asia is able to push down the side lane, they're going to lose a turret for it. And the second-tier turrets are stronger. So East Asia, they're going to be like the first-tier turret and potentially even defend their own.
QQ coming in here to defend against Chingy. And something that I wanted to touch on, you know, you go against the Baron in 3v3, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes plus, you're saying, okay, Baron's going to be very difficult to deal with. Wait a second.
Arc Recursion, they come on in. Spaghetti will take that one. Varia, incredibly mobile, huge burst potential. Stormforge Spear, they need to get back. Uni's going to go ahead and use that Sonic Zoom. Chingy's here for the peel. I doubt that they look to turn this around with actual damage. There's 4 from East Asia here. 532 damage on the crit. Now SNK, looks like we actually could have a legit team fight. Ion Cannon comes on through. Big damage onto Uni. SNK as well stands his ground. Trespass peels him over the top side. He'll go down. They block off this big fearsome shade coming on through. And now the chase is on. Solar Storm only will clip to Spaghetti as their target. But Arc Recursion as he dances backwards. Huge splash damage. They won't be able to get a kill off of that one, but you can see the output, the damage output potential here.
Look at the peeling that is going on for Southeast Asia. They are playing around Spaghetti, the afterburns, everything there designed to protect him.
Yeah, but look at the gold difference. Southeast Asia is actually ahead. East Asia, they have the 8 kills. Southeast Asia, they have the 3. But the turrets that Southeast Asia has taken has given this such a big lead.
Yeah, they've got huge leads in terms of turret takes at this point in time, and they have been able to push down all those different lanes. They're playing the map incredibly well. You know, they want to avoid fighting the Baron on, you know, head on. They want to be able to use the map to draw Baron to different areas. When you play against a hypercarrier in 3v3, you have to face them head on to win the game. In 5v5, you don't. You can pull them one way, you can pull them the other, and you can exploit the map to avoid the win conditions of your enemy.
Absolutely. As long as you're just one step ahead of your opponent, you have a huge advantage. You never have to fight them, but you really should. If you can get a big enough goal lead, you can go for those big objectives and really take advantage of the map.
Now this is exactly what Southeast Asia can see. There's a gank happening here. Blast Trimmer coming out of the brush. They didn't see that coming because they did not have their scout cams down there. East Asia controls vision on their side of the map right now. It's a huge strategical advantage for them. Now, Zekin, I wanted to talk a little bit about Blackclaw here on the map. There has been no attempt to take this objective yet, barring a fight. Let's break this down here in a second. Oh, Mango jumped on. PQQ there, Chingy. That's not the afterburn you wanted, but he has the burst damage. They find a kill. Chingy's overextended. Anvil Hammer's coming down. It's going to rain in across the map. Massive AoE damage coming out through the retreat back. They lost one, they lost two, they lost four. SEA, huge plays. This is at least a turret and more.
They could go for Blackclaw off the back of this. This is an easy rotate off the back of a turret take. They've got a long time before East Asia respawns, and Blackclaw will make his way to that mid lane and push down some more turrets.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a huge step for Southeast Asia because the moment they take out Blackclaw, Ghostwing is also on the field. Normally, you'd be able to contest it, but this time around, Southeast Asia, they're home free.
Why don't they kill the scout cam here? Did they just let that there?
That was their scout cam, right?
Oh, there was two in that.
Oh, right. I think one of them timed out eventually. That's a huge amount of vision control around the Blackclaw entrances for Southeast Asia. It has been unleashed for the Southeast Asian team. They're not there to support Blackclaw right now,
Oh, man. That dragon is badass.
He's pretty badass.
That dragon is tough, too. He's got the entire East Asia team on him. He's taking a lot of damage.
Is this the multi-bait? Are they going for
Ghostwing?
Are they going for Ghostwing at the same time?
East Asia knows this. There's a vision down all across, but they have to deal with this Blackclaw. That's where East Asia has focused. But okay, there's a push potential setup. We got 3 from SEA down in the bottom. You have 2 up in the top. A classic split push setup.
I feel like that was a little bit of a mistake coming out from SEA. They had the opportunity to get both objectives, but they decided to recall. And if they pushed with that Blackclaw, they could have taken many more turrets and even potentially the armory.
Exactly. They kind of wasted Blackclaw a little bit there. Maybe they didn't feel they were healthy enough to take EA on in a 5v5 with that Blackclaw pushing down as well. They tried to use that as a distraction to set up for this. They've split the map. It's a 2 and 3 split push right now. They're going to get the opening base of the final base turret in that lane as the rest of the SEA composition looks to push down this tier 2 turret in the bot.
SEA so smart. They jump forward. They have the aggression, the mobility. They're able to take Ingenious down. Now they're onto the armory. But what is EA going to do? They're caught in a fight down in the bottom. They're able to take a kill. They want more. That big blast trimmer actually coming through, doing a lot of work here for EA. Aeon wants to kite back. Anvil's hammer is coming out of that Varia. Does he have the damage to actually find the kills? Whale dropping low. Whale trying to trade out the damage. He will run out. Big plays coming out of SNK to set his team up. And now Quiz just has to run on the back foot. It is a bloodbath across this map.
And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Being able to pull your opponents across the map, being one step ahead of them, taking that Blackclaw, even though it looked like they just gave it up, they were able to take such a big advantage out of it.
Exactly, Zeke. It may feel like a Baron is going to scale into the late game and get a 5v5 and just obliterate everyone. But SEA are saying, we don't need to take a 5v5. We can go 2 and 3. We can split you across the map. And if you commit to a fight on the 3 members in the bot lane, we're going to take everything from the top lane. It is classic split push, and they are executing it so well.
Yeah, you might see East Asia, they lost 1 army. This means that lane is going to be permanently pushing into their base. This is going to make it very difficult for them to make a comeback. However, Ghostwing is on the field. Southeast Asia, they're likely putting their eyes on it. And if they can get the scout cams, if they can get the vision control around it, it'll be fantastic.
That is actually so incredibly smart. They've balanced the map, so suddenly East Asia have to consistently apply resource up toward the top side of the map when the bottom side of the map is where they want to put their focus. I bet they're going to slow roll this one right now because there's no reason for them to actually force anything just yet.
So they've got vision control, Southeast Asia of Ghostwing right now. When you place a scout camera down and your opponent already has a scout camera there, you can get rid of their scout camera, which has allowed SEA to retain control of Ghostwing, and it's made it very awkward for EA. If they can't see SEA on the map, they're going to have to react, and they're going to have to react potentially to Ghostwing. They might move into a trap.
Yeah, I'd love to see what East Asia can see right now. Where are they scared?
There we go.
There we go. And that's
a
fantastic.
scary map right there.
They know they're in this side somewhere because there is a scout camera just outside this bush.
So that was a great scout cam for them. It just completely saved them from face checking into a brush. and this means that they are more easily able to get more vision down.
Mango walks forward, he's knocked back. The wait for it's going to come down on the
he's
top
just
side.
gone.
They have lost there, so left. Huge blast hammer, and suddenly they're falling like flies. It's traded 1 for 1 now. They're going to try and get back. Blacklaw has landed back on the map. Spaghetti will go down. Ingenious, he rose offensive forward, but knocked back. Chingy goes down. Huge plays coming out of Southeast Asia. Vivi Royale, he is now here. He has the burst damage, though. East Asia has stepped up.
The kill!
Wiped them across the map. And suddenly, the prize is East Asia's.
Wow, that was playing right into East Asia's territory. They have a composition that is designed to function really well in a 5v5 scenario. The grouped up damage, Celeste Supernova, Baron Explosive, basic attacks. It's exactly what they wanted. But take a look at Ingenious. He has gone for that heavy dive, and Barrier is weak to people with really good gap closing. They can't even take Ghost Swing. They don't have the damage. Ghost Swing is just too powerful. Oh my word, Southeast Asia are going to have to think about their strategy. I don't know if they can go for a full 5v5 right now.
Yeah, they're a little bit split on their call right now. They're like, should we let go? Should we keep taking it? And
I mean, you want to take it, right? But you have to at some point make that decision. And here's a replay we can break down just a touch.
Let's have a look at this. They look to make that initial engage, but look at Ingenious. He knows where his targets lie. He wants to go for Spaghetti. They focus.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
Blacklaw's unleashed.
But realistically, everybody barreled in on Mango, but they grouped up to barrel in on Mango. So Baron got huge damage off there. And when they split up and tried to split back, Ingenious went for the primary target, which is Spaghetti. Spaghetti is the sole hyper carry. Yeah, you have Vox, he's okay, but Spaghetti is the one that's hyper carrying here for SEA. Whereas there are a couple of hyper carries for East Asia. You've got to split your focus a little bit more. Even in some scenarios, people can consider Blackfeather a really good late game carry.
Yeah, you can see right here, Southeast Asia, they're pushing with the Blacklaw. And they have the split push going on in the bot lane with Chingy.
Oh, Chingy's down in the bottom. He may potentially fight if it looks good for them, but currently they're going to let Blacklaw just go to work here. East Asia on the back foot. They want to get some chip damage, but they can't overextend and go down. This is the Angel's Hammer. Spaghetti wrecking through with the arc recursion. He's jumped forward. Huge splash damage coming out. East Asia, they've lost no armory in mid and now in top. They're going to block off the splash hammer, jump right back in. Solar Storm tears on through, but the fountain comes down. Aeon, he stays alive. They've turned it around. Royals down. Ingenious is down as well. SEA, they put the boot onto the throne of East Asia. They're down. Southeast Asia looks like they're about to close this out and take the first professional game of 5v5 Vainglory. The Vein Crystal's down. They have done it. SEA.
And what a game that was. That was incredible coming out from SEA. They really took advantage of the entire map, forcing those split pushes, making East Asia play to their own game.
And Ghost Wing wasn't even an objective. They tried to go for it. It was too powerful off the back of that team fight that was so close between the two of them. And they exploited a tactic that tore apart a hyper carry tactic. And the benefit of Blacklaw is it's ranged. It attacks the turrets from range periodically, so it's a little bit easier to siege as a unit that wants to stay safe from the backline. That's what allowed Chingy to move to that bot side. And because Glaive is so mobile, because he has afterburn, he could very easily commit to a fight if it broke out in the mid lane. Spaghetti, though, the Southeast Asian hero, jumping in, blowing up Vivi Royale. Unbelievable.
I mean, Spaghetti was doing work there. Varia, you can see the power of Varia actually out on this map. It's incredible. Using the ultimate, comboed up with the arc recursion, jumping in, dancing around. Incredible stuff.
There's a reason that they added more than 3 targets with the Chain Lightning for Varia. It was gearing up for 5v5. It was beautiful to watch, especially in that last fight. Obviously, Varia in a 5v5 scenario is going to be good. They managed to exploit it by kind of pulling East Asia apart. They found an opening to get onto Baron. At least Spaghetti found an opening to get onto Baron. I wouldn't have bloody seen that. And he jumped in and blew him up. And once Baron's down, you've taken off half of the hyper carries that they have left.
Yeah, I mean, we saw East Asia early on through the laning phase. Looked like they had a bit of advantage. They were kind of setting the pace up from top lane to bottom lane. They had control of the jungle. They stole some camps away. But as we transition into the mid and the late game, there was huge objective takes out of SEA. I mean, Zekin, was there anything that really stood out to you there?
Absolutely. I think both of their teams play their team compositions very, very well. East Asia, they were trying to stall out the game, get their hyper carries online. The Baron, the Celeste, so incredibly strong later on. But Southeast Asia, the moment they got to mid-game, they just tore it apart.
And I know one of the worries that people expressed to me was like, these games can go 40, 50 minutes, so it's 5v5. No, you can end the game.
I mean, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I know you will, but you're a Dota player. But I know that it's they've got that 5v5 element that allows you to end games decisively and quickly, you know, using those objectives. It's really, really, really good. And obviously it allows you to be decisive and execute when you need to.
All right, well, decisive team action there, and we have a decisive guy with an interview up on the stage. Let's throw it over to Dan Gaskin.
Thank you very much, Humanist. Do you just call me decisive? I guess I am slightly decisive, but a man who is very decisive is you, Spaghetti. What a performance that was from you guys, but I guess first things first, what I should ask you, how did it feel playing 5v5?
It felt a lot more harder to play.
You guys made it look pretty easy, well, especially towards the end of the game anyway. You've had a lot of practice on the 5v5, you guys especially as Renegades. Were you a little bit worried, were you a little bit nervous when the other team, they had you on the ropes right at the start, they were up by about 6 kills?
We knew that even though we were behind in kills, we were able to split push more effectively than their team, and that would gain us the lead later on in the game.
And do you think because we've got 5v5 now, there are more strategies like split pushing that are available, and maybe there's so much more that we can develop in Vainglory?
Definitely. There are a lot more strategies that you can do with your team and execute, which will be very entertaining to watch for the future.
It's certainly, I'm really excited, especially to see pros like you as well moving forward. Have you got an idea of what your role is going to be in 5v5?
Mid lane!
Woo! Mid lane for this guy! I'll probably go as something, maybe like a support. I'm more of a support kind of guy. Thank you so much. Best of luck in your next game as well. We'll throw this one back to Munchables on the desk.
Thank you very much, Dan, and Spaghetti, of course, as well. What a game we just saw coming out there. Some incredible team fights coming out from both of the squads, East Asia and Southeast Asia. And I have to say, I was incredibly impressed by the early aggression and coordination coming out from East Asia to start things off there. One of the first times they've really got their hands on against a team that's been practicing quite a bit. They were able to really control that early game for quite some time.
Yeah, Rox Armada and DetonatioN Gaming, they never had played 5v5 before they arrived here in Singapore for this tournament. So to see they're already playing so well, and you could see at moments, there was like one moment where they didn't pick up a red buff off the ground. They're just not familiar yet. So imagine what this is going to be like when they have more experience on the rise.
Yeah, if that's just like first impressions, imagine the level that these teams can get to. Now, we do have a replay of one of the team fights in that game. And I tell you what, the team fighting from both sides, Southeast Asia and East Asia, was just phenomenal.
Yeah, this was a crazy play. This is why positioning is so important, especially in 5v5 vision. If you get caught like that, your hypercar just disappears, but they're able to turn it around. And look at this Black Feather. Engineers right on Spaghetti, the hypercar. You have to take care of that VAR because she can carry so hard. And the fountain comes out just in the nick of time. And you can see they just turn it around. Churn Walker isn't able to save Varia. They get the ace, and then they win that fight. It was a beautiful fight by East Asia. Their rotations were so solid.
The first ever quadra kill in Vainglory 5v5.
The first ever, and that's why Varia was actually the hero that I wanted to see in this 5v5. She has the global ult, which works perfectly in the bigger map. She has really good lane pressure, and she has a lot of mobility to set up these initiations and to also set up these split pushes. So Spaghetti performed phenomenally on this new hero on the update of 2.11.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we talked about East Asia being well coordinated. Obviously, you could see them winning that team fight there. But one thing we always talk about in Vainglory is, can you turn those kills into objectives? And that was where Southeast Asia really shone. The Renegades clearly showed that they had a better understanding of what objectives needed to be taken and how to actually achieve that.
Yeah, on top of that, although Southeast Asia was so good at the 5-man group and rotations, Southeast Asia punished them. Their 5-man rotation to bot lane. They got the kill, they got the tower, but they split push. Chingy and Spaghetti were in the top lane. They took the tower, then they took a mid tower. So they actually traded 1 for 2. So you can see how important the split pushes are. And when you 5-man rotate, it's gotta be very decisive and fast.
I have to say as well, the art and the animations on things like Black Claw coming on into the mid lane, absolutely stunning graphics coming in.
Yeah, and to be frank, these are still the alpha state graphics. By the time that Vainglory 5v5 releases to the general public in February, you know, Chainsaw has a lot more up his sleeve, and it will have a lot more time. Literally coming into this event, every single day, the production team and the art team were adding in more and more things. I'm sure a lot has already happened. just this weekend while this tournament has been going on, and come February, we have more surprises in store.
All right, well, it's about time that we introduce the next opponents coming in here for Renegades. They managed to win the first game, and this is a King of the Hill. So now the North American side is going to step up. Let me introduce to the stage Team Solo Mid with Shin Kaigen.
And there we see them, Flash X, along with his old friend from the Vainglory International Premier League from 2 years ago, Shin Kaigen. He made a name for himself as a super sub, played the Kesho, and won a world championship.
And really, honestly, this Team Solo Mid team does not exist if not for Shin Kaigen. This team, this Ardent team, they had an emergency situation. Shin Kaigen had to fly to Korea just so that they would be able to play in that VIPL, and they went all the way. They won the title that led to getting on TSM's radar, and they got picked up. This is the original super sub, and he is clutch, and he always builds things off meta, so it's going to be fun to see what he does today.
I mean, you say off meta, there isn't really a meta just yet in 5v5, so just about anything he builds will be off meta. I mean, Irakizo, you played against these guys as a team. This is a team that you've got to be scared coming in.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm so excited to watch this team play 5v5 is because both Shin Kaigen and Flash X are so known for their creative strategies, their creative rotations, and their creative compositions. So what they're going to be setting the meta for 5v5, like you guys are talking. What sort of aggression are they going to try to pull off with Von C, who's also on the team, a player that plays so fearlessly. So I'm very excited for this one.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to get on into this next game. North America against Southeast Asia. Let's take a look at the team lineups for anyone who missed game one. And so we can introduce our North American players a little bit more properly. Who are the guys that we really have to keep our eyes out here for? I feel like Shin Kaigen has to be one of the standouts.
Yes. It has to be.
For me, it's Flash X, because he definitely watched the previous game, took a few notes, and is going to implement some nice macro strategy stuff to this match.
For those who aren't familiar with this kind of Hall of Famer, this legacy player, Shin Kaigen, he does have signature heroes. He kind of focuses on one hero at a time. It originally was Kestrel, which led him to the VIPL title. More recently, Lance and Lorelei are his mains. So if he gets his hands on either of those heroes, watch out.
All right, so definitely a captain main coming on in, although we have seen CP Lorelei as well. I'm excited to see whether we have role swaps coming on in as well. Obviously, we know where the TSM players like to play, but we saw PQQ playing Koshka in that last game, and he was doing a damn good job in the early game.
Yeah, and as the captain or the shot caller regularly of Team Rox Armada, you could see how well he was moving or navigating the team to set up these 5-man bot initiations and ambushes. Another thing that I'm very excited to look out for, hopefully we can see it in this match, is the teleport boots. A new feature or new item in 5v5 that we haven't seen before, that you can try to apply so much pressure with around the map, transitioning to the top lane if you want all of a sudden. So I hope one of these players picks it up.
Now, one of my questions is, obviously we've got Team Solo Mid stepping onto this stage. Now, as you can tell by the name of the organization, this is a MOBA organization that came from a 5v5 MOBA. There's potential that they've been chatting to the players in other games and getting some strategies. This could be an exceptionally well-prepared roster coming on into the tournament here.
Yeah, it's true. And, you know, honestly, everyone at Super Evil, we started out as PC and console players, and that's what we want to do, is bring an experience that is every bit, you know, as deep and intricate as you expect on PC and consoles. So any of those strategies that they might be able to discuss with their brethren, say from League of Legends, that stuff will apply here, and they'll be able to use it to their advantage.
Yeah, it definitely will take some translation, different objectives, different timings, but definitely the theories there could definitely make some serious marks on this series. Now, we're getting close to jumping on into the game. I want to ask you guys whether we have any kind of predictions of what we're expecting to see coming out from Team Solo Mid. Obviously, we've just seen Renegades. We've seen that they clearly know how to teamfight. They clearly know how to control the map. Are we expecting a certain style from Team Solo Mid here, or is it just too difficult to say, being a new game mode here?
Yeah, I think macro rotations will be critical, because in this game, 5v5, it's getting to the bush first. First to bush wins that territory. So I think with Flash X on the team, he's going to help the team basically get map control and rotate quicker to get and win the team fights.
Two things that I'm excited to watch FlashX do. One, his vision game was one of the best a few updates ago in all of competitive Vainglory. So with the new vision system, I'm excited to see if he can set it up deep in the jungle so that they can set up some sort of invades. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure he's going to be rotating all over the map, roaming to help his side lanes as well as his mid lanes. So I'm very excited to see all sort of new stuff come out with FlashX.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing Kaigen, you represent Super Evil here. He's got to bring it. He's, you know, a dev now, and we want to see him show that we can play this game too. We got some Vainglorious players back at the lair. The weirdest thing though, guys, like that Championship Catherine skin that says World Champion Shinkaigen on it, that predated this moment. This was not planned. For all we knew, TSM would have been in the grand finals of this tournament. So it's kind of eerie. My prediction is Shinkaigen MVP because it looks like it's just all lining up that way.
All right, we'll see if that is going to be the case once we get on into the game. Now, before we do jump on into the game, Playoff Beard, I do want to ask you, as one of the people that has been developing the game, one of the insiders on this one, I do just want to have a quick little recap of something that Chainsaw mentioned earlier. What is Sovereign's Rise? Where is Sovereign's Rise in the game?
Sure, so we're on the Storm Queen's turf now, and anyone who reads the Sugar Venom lore knows that character's backstory, but...
I actually have to cut you off there. It is time to get on into game production. It's telling me that we have to kick this one off. It's game number 2 here in the King of the Hill. It is time to see some more 5v5, North America versus Southeast Asia. Let me pass it back to the casters.
You're a powerful man, Munchables. I would never dare cut off Playoff Beard like that. But, I mean, we were up here, we were talking about some of our favorite things that we've seen out on Sovereign's Rise, and look at it. This is one of my favorite things. That is tasty as tasty can be.
I can't believe that's on mobile. Like, that's just unbelievable. It's just beautiful.
Well, it's happening. You can't deny reality.
No, we can't indeed. FlashX is on Jewel here. Shinkaigen on Lance. Vonsi's going to be on Rona. Best Chuck will be on Gwen, looking to play a CP Gwen, and again, Buckshot, more impact now. There are 5 members you could potentially catch in that spread. Let's see where these guys decide to play.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Both these teams decided to do a little bit of a split on their buffs, taking both buffs down at the same time, so it's actually kind of mirrored. You see Grace down the bot lane, Lucky Bread, and you got Uni on top.
Look at the early vision control for TSM as well, or North America, I suppose. Look at the early vision control for North America.
That's right.
They've looked to get all of those scout cameras down to prevent any potential early jungle steals. So you can, which buffs are kind of suspect to early invades?
I think the crystal buff especially, it's so close to the river. Just peeking your head in, taking a look. Is it still there? If it is, go ahead and take it.
So Weapon Gwen, obviously pretty good at bursting people down, but it adds so much to have this CP Gwen here. You can hit Buckshot onto all of these heroes, just do huge chunk potential. Shinkaigen will miss on that first impale, but a Githing wall will land. I can't even imagine to have these huge Githing walls come out now. Flash, defensive rocket
You get away from my Shinkaigen.
Just for the lulz.
Lucky Bread now heading down. Looks like they're running almost a double support strategy, so double roam coming out for the North American team. You're going to have Lucky Bread on this Grace and Shinkaigen on the Lance. He might actually be running for something.
Not a very supportive build there.
He looks like he's running for a more aggressive Lance build. Maybe building towards Spell Sword if we get some action opening up early on.
Yeah, Vonsi lighting up over here, starting with that foe splitter, getting in, getting back. Lucky Bread's going to use those boots to go ahead and reposition, and he's got that Protector contract out here. That's also pretty good value as well, right? Like any ally you have, you can throw it on more heroes now.
Yeah, I really enjoy how these two teams already have a little bit of a meta going on. They both went with a very similar jungle rotation at the start, and I mean, there's a little bit to be said. They were screening against each other, and they have an idea what they're going to do.
Chingy using that afterburn. He's going to go ahead and knock Flash back. It's really cool to see Flash playing this offensive Jewel here. And it seems like also it's going to be able to do great. Another area of effectability when the Thunder Strike's coming through, and especially on this weapon Jewel, he will be critting people down.
Imagine how hard it's going to be for him to get to that backline, though. You've got to get through Core Collapse. You've got to get through a Relentless Pursuit. You've got to get through the Silence, the Ordained, the Fearsome Shade. Like,
all that CC.
All that CC.
Or you just jump through and you say, Lucky Bread, just hit me with that double Divine Intervention.
Maybe so. So Chuck here and Lucky Bread now sharing experience and pushing this mid lane in. Shinkaigan tried to roam down bot. I really like the way that Lucky Bread pulled that minion wave to the side to allow a bit of space to open up as they push forward to try and deal with Lucky Bread. That was an opportunity for Shinkaigan to look for a gank, but the scout camera went down and he was zoned out and no Swan.
Yeah, but take a look at these two team compositions. TSM, or North America's team composition, is really built towards diving in on that backline. And on Southeast Asia, they're trying to protect Spaghetti, they're trying to protect Uni, and will he be able to do it?
Yeah, they've got a heavy amount of protect there, and again, Uni on this Vox, he can stay in a side lane and push if he wants to, but he can again join the team. Two different carries that you're going to have to pay respect to. Very similar composition to previous, it just Spaghetti is on Celeste, and this time SNK is not on the Churnwalker, he's on the Catherine instead.
I'm watching Chingy here, and occasionally he's making the rotation on the opposite direction of the river. It feels like it could be a little bit of a problem for him. He's actually on this buff camp here. Now this is going to be a big deal. Whoever's going to secure this grabs it. I think it goes over to...
Celeste.
Actually, yeah, it did go over to Celeste. This is a great buff for Spaghetti here.
Yeah, again, boosts that CP power of a CP hero. That's a really good invade. And the SEA team, especially Chingy, isn't afraid to move in to the enemy jungle, to look to take camps away. He did it on the healing camp. He's done it on the crystal camp now.
Yeah, it's actually incredibly important. You might look at Southeast Asia's side, and they actually don't have many of their jungle camps taken down. North America, all their camps are gone, but a lot of those went to Southeast Asia.
Speaking of the jungle camps, Zekan, what are the respawn timers on the jungle camps? Just so people know how to plan out their jungle paths.
So the normal jungle camps respawn every 100 seconds. However, the buff camps respawn every 160. But that may be changed.
It may be changed. Again, we've talked about it. There is still 2 months to go until we actually fully release 5v5. Lots of things will change. Models might change. For instance, there's talk about, obviously we know Battletoad is going to be the gold Treant that is now there. You might see changes to the Treants with the buffs. Lots of things can change at this point in time.
Just don't touch my Ozo.
Don't touch your Ozo.
I won't touch your Ozo, I promise. Might buff him, why not?
All right, my man.
All right, but one of the interesting things right here is both of these teams are playing very slow and very measured. In their scrims, I was watching a couple of them, and they actually rotated out of mid lane quite often, trying to get those ganks on those side lanes.
Yeah, it's interesting that really we're seeing what is essentially a 2-on-2 in all lanes, but you have a member. Usually it's the sort of the perceived jungler rotating out of lane, taking jungle camps when they can. It looks like they're actually splitting pressure across.
Oh, they found Teza here. Shinkaigan's going to be looking for that impale. It's off the mark. Vonsi putting out a lot of damage, though. The Ordain comes out. Those bad mojos. Teza just stands his ground. It's a pretty nice sustain for him. He hangs out in the lane. SNK just ready to peel. Look at that championship Catherine skin, too. That's pretty hot.
Well, you watch the stream, you get it for free, my friends.
Seems good.
Seems good, man.
All right, looks like North America trying to defend their bot lane against Southeast Asia's aggression, but this does mean Uni on the top lane is completely open.
Yeah, I think North America looks to make a play, but Chingy has been all over the map. He has been a roaming god on this glaive. Left, right, and center looking to impact somewhere.
Uh-oh.
Another impale. Vonsi jumps on in. He's going to start the spin. Teza looks like he's in trouble. Are we going to get our first blood? There you go. North America starting off hot.
Wow, 3-man rotate set up by Shinkaigan, capitalized on by Lucky Bread. That chain CC coming out, and no fountain there for SNK right now. Wasn't able to save him beyond that healing flask.
As Vonsi overstepped himself, a big Githian wall. SNK has to drop down. Chingy's okay. They don't want to get rooted out, so they kind of back up, reposition, but Vonsi moves in. No fear, just fight. Blows up in his face. Chingy finds the knockback onto Shinkaigan. You see the protector contract coming out of SNK, allowing Chingy to hang out on the front side there. They are potentially being cut off, but I'm not sure Spaghetti wants to fight just yet. They also have the scout camp, so they know exactly where they are. Shinkaigan, he's been knocked back. Is anyone going to flank? SNK doesn't. Solar Storm flies on through. Another Githian wall into the impale. Shinkaigan, he's dropping incredibly low, but so is Chingy. Lucky Bread potentially getting in for the kill. Nah. Holds his ground. That's the fountain out of Lucky Bread, though, and a large cooldown.
And SNK bought a fountain in the jungle shop through the middle of that engage to keep Chingy alive in that scenario. Look at this, though, SEA, what they do best, just trying to push onto this turret. They know that objectives are more important than chasing for kills. And this is what they were so good at versus East Asia. East Asia might have had the kill advantage. They might have sought those skirmishes, but they went for those objectives. As Tezzaboy does spy out Lucky Bread heading down towards him. There was a scout camera in the river near Ghostwing, and obviously they managed to see him come down.
Absolutely, and one of the great things right here is North America, you see, they have 3 members on the bottom side of the map. Southeast Asia, they have 2 on the top. And it's really up to these teams to rotate properly, figure out where their opponents are going to be, and defend against all these pushes.
Zeke, and I want to talk about this as Flash clears out this wave near the turret. You've really made it consistent, jumping across walls. Everything's symmetrical. There's no differences in walls across the 5v5 map than there was in 3v3. Everything is designed to be sort of consistent about what you can jump across, right?
Absolutely. One of our big goals was to make sure that there are very clear abilities that will make it over the wall. The ones that look like they will absolutely make it over. The ones that don't will definitely not. It's very straightforward.
A lot of damage coming out here down in the bottom lane. Vauncey hanging in there, Benediction and Lucky Bread to jump forward. They want to get one of these targets, but SNK disrupting the engage continuously. Once again, Cheney, this is the guy that you keep talking about, making the rotations from lane to lane. He's looking for best Chuck, but this Squid's pretty hard to take down. He goes in, they'll get a little bit of this chip damage onto the turret, and slowly but surely, they're doing pretty good work here.
Chingy really likes that gank location for Glaive, sitting just near the North American turret in the mid lane, looking for an opportunity. Actually, Vauncey's going to have to be careful here. He is level 8. He's got a level advantage over his opponents. Shinkaigen's coming down.
Shinkaigen will be looking for the setup. Lucky Bread dropping a little bit, has the fountain. Shinkaigen knocked back. Vauncey has the damage. Big impale to come out. Look for Shinkaigen to get a big Githian wall out here. Solar Storm comes on through on the 2. Shinkaigen sets it up for Vauncey to knock it down. Lucky Bread dropping low. That is not the key target for SEA to take down. Shinkaigen, time for rolling. Finds the stun, knocks SNK back. Suddenly, 4 of North America find themselves in the bottom lane.
I don't think the bottom lane is done quite yet. They want to take down this turret. They have 3 members rotated down. She can't really engage. She is way too low.
Another big impale coming out. This weapon lance doing work. Also with the spell sword as well. A lot of cooldown. I like this build. Shinkaigen known for these very fun builds. And NA standing their ground, getting damage down onto the turret. They haven't drawn the aggro, so they're doing just fine. SEA stands their ground. Tezaboy finally making his way back out into the lane. He's got the Ordained down to Lucky. Holds his ground. Shinkaigen sets it up. They find another kill. North America's up 3-1, 10 minutes in.
And that is our Super Evil Medcorp World Champion right there for you.
Oh my god, I mean, if you're good at Vainglory, I guess so. Shinkaigen will go down, cursed by Zekant himself.
I guess I jinxed him just a little bit there.
You're pretty powerful yourself.
Something I want to talk about that's interesting with the defensive itemization here in 5v5. In 3v3, it can be quite straightforward as SNK face checks here.
A nice stun there. SNK, you're going to go down, right? He'll use the fountain. Yeah, there's a lot of damage coming out of Vauncey right now.
Absolutely, but speaking to Exjoundle's point earlier, being able to choose what you want to itemize against is incredibly important. If you know that you're on the back line and there's something that has range and is crystal power, build that shielding.
Right.
If you're in the front lines and you're getting smacked by a Ringo, get that armor.
Exactly, but because the diversity of team compositions offers much more in terms of variety of damage, suddenly it's a little bit harder to know when and where to itemize in defense. Everything gets built up in sort of more complex scenarios. North America, they're going for a quick objective take.
You can see there's no vision for SEA. This is going to be a Blacklaw take here, and Chingy maybe starting to sniff it out. No, his eye is on mid.
He has no idea.
They have no idea. Caught by complete surprise. NA gonna snag that objective.
Hey, we knew Jewel in 3v3 was good at taking objectives. Jewel is pretty good in 5v5 at taking objectives too, especially this weapon power.
Wow.
I love the blue skin when you unleash your on blue side. There you go.
This dragon is no joke. Uni, is he caught out here? Thunderstrike will miss a couple autos, a nice knockback. Uni, he can just stand his ground, maybe take down Shinkaigen. Shin lives through it, and they find another kill.
Vauncey potentially going down. He's spinning.
The Divine Intervention, he's got a lot of durability and regen, and plus SEA, they have to get onto this Blacklaw. Blacklaw doing good work. Suddenly, all of the chip damage from SEA doesn't feel so powerful. Lucky Bread moves forward, drops that Holy Nova. It looks like a little bit of a converge here coming in from NA. They've got the turret down, Lucky Bread in. And they're going to go ahead and respect this pretty well.
I really like the CP Gwen in this scenario because you're able to disengage really easily. Lucky Bread oversteps just a bit, but they have got what they wanted from this engage. They got that middle opening turret that opens up the map. You can venture more easily into the enemy side jungles to steal away camps, to set up traps, to get deep vision down, get those scout cameras right into the enemy jungle. And in the meantime, Flash X on a weapon power Jewel, and now I think of it, seems like a perfect split pusher, able to take yet another turret in the side lane. Imagine Flash is probably going to spend most of his time as Jewel, thunderstriking, taking down turrets after turrets.
Absolutely, that's such an incredible point because being able to split push very effectively when you know you're up against just one target, when Jewel doesn't need to have her back turn to anyone. She is so incredibly powerful, and there are so many heroes on Sovereign's Rise that are just much stronger or much more effective at their respective roles.
Exactly. You have opened the diversity of roles. Suddenly, you know, you had a Jewel on Halcyon Fold. Yeah, she was good at taking turrets, but now she's even better because it's a role that she fits perfectly into, because that's a specific strategy that you can employ on 5v5.
I hear you say strategical diversity. All I hear is dive, and it's all I want to see out of North America right now. They have the composition to do it. They have advantage. We've seen split push, but also splitting of objectives and taking the resources across the map. Chingy over the wall. He'll go ahead and slap Best Chuck, let him know he's there and that he's ready to play some games. Shin Kaigen has made his way over. And can you guys break this down? I'm seeing a lot of spell sword stacking here across the map.
Super spell sword stacking. It's a great item if you're heavy on weapon power, but also an ability-focused carry. Things like Glaive, they want to have that afterburn on off cooldown as quickly as possible. Things like Lance want to get that Impale and Githyan wall rolling as much as possible, and they've got those weapon power scalings with them. So it's an interesting item to stack. It's very much burst damage orientated. You go in, you hit hard, you hit once, and get the damage done.
Absolutely, but look at TSM. Look at North America. Getting those scout cams down on the bottom side of the river. They're getting ready for this Ghost Wing. The moment it spawns, you can expect to let them to make a move.
Now there's a lot of movement potentials across the map. You can see that some heroes are taking a significant level advantage, specifically Uni and Spaghetti, who have just stuck themselves in the lane, not so concerned with rotating across the map. Von C doing mad work down here in a 2v1. Chingy finally shows up. Von C, he jumps back, stunned up, but Best Chuck's here. Shin Kaigen as well. They block off the Aces High. Fearsome Shade will catch Shin Kaigen. About to have a whoa! Talk about a global ability. Best Chuck, he wants to run back, but he's got big splash damage, 667 damage coming out of that bad mojo. Lucky Bread with Shin Kaigen able to take one of SEA. Shin Kaigen goes down, Lucky Bread got to get back, but he's outnumbered, surrounded by foes, and taken down. 4 dead heroes for North America, and suddenly SEA ready to take this dragon.
Yeah, and we thought that North America had the advantage right there. They got to bot lane with 4 members against the 3 of Southeast Asia, but the rotation is coming out from Southeast Asia, where it's absolutely fantastic.
The differences that we saw from North America versus
Flash.
EA. Wait a second, Flash could go for a steal here.
They have that scout coming there. Flash doesn't know it. Big red bed over the
Flash! The first
That's
objective
what I'm
steal!
talking about!
The first objective steal of 5v5.
Pretty neat, huh?
And it's Flash X over the wall. Big red button, Ghost Claw.
Flashy X.
Ghost Swing.
Ghost Swing.
That was incredible. Flash X going in, dropping that scout cannon. This is the incredible part about the vision system. Even as a carry, you can get your own vision down.
And something that's understated is scout traps are placed directly where you walk. You have the freedom to place them over walls here. You have the freedom to move them around. It's a little bit more diverse in terms of placing those scout cameras.
Absolutely, and being able to drop them in key places. You see North America moving on towards this Black Claw.
So they've taken Ghost Wing. Now they're going to use this buff to their advantage to move in and take Black Claw as well. SEA knows what's happening, but can they contest this one? SNK trying to get in position. We'll look for Chingy over the wall. Spaghetti throws in the Solar Storm. It tears on through. It's going to be secured by Shin Kaigen, the super sub himself. Chingy has fallen. North America blowing this game open. SNK will go down as well. Suddenly, Black Claw descends upon the mid lane. North America have taken 3 kills and will now look to push potentially into the base of SEA.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing from North America. They're going to get a push here. And remember, Black Claw is stronger if you take it later into the game, so he has the ability to be more aggressive in the siege. And North America are going to look to fully exploit that right now. Flash X had done very little in terms of participation all game. He had spent that side lane pushing those minion waves, pushing the turrets, and then one heroic play has brought North America right back into this game and potentially even looking to finish it off in a short space of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Taking that Ghost Wing really allowed them to take Black Claw without taking too much damage. Southeast Asia, they came in full of fight. They were able to put a lot of pressure on North America, but it just wasn't enough.
Now Von C's playing games in the bottom lane here, so he's splitting up what the advantage out of SEA as full team. And it's a lot of damage. This turret will most likely go down, but I don't think North America stays around.
It's going to be close. I don't think they stay around for it. They do get that turret. They open up the armory. And actually, what you see here is a very classic 5v5 tactic being really perfected already in Vainglory. It's the 1-3-1, the double split push composition, looking to put pressure in every single lane at the same time. And the beauty of Blackclaw is he actually helps facilitate that. He becomes a mid lane pushing monster, and then you have those side lanes with Rona and Jewel just shoving those turrets down. Absolutely.
Being able to force your opponents to misstep, forcing them to draw apart their team, making them have to decide, do they want to send 1 here, 2 there, 3 where? They have no idea.
I've actually thought about this composition even more, Humanist, and it's beautiful. Rona is great 1v1, Jewel is great 1v1. Then you have a CP Gwen in the mid lane along with a Grace and a Lance. They have long-range disengage. They can consistently push the enemy back if they try to engage upon them, and that allows them to be very, very sort of, I guess, careful about how they approach their own mid lane siege while you have these 1v1 monsters in the side lanes performing this 1-3-1.
Absolutely, and with both Rona and Jewel being able to jump away from the fight, if they do get ganked, they'll be okay.
Super mobile.
Yeah, Chingy, he does have a ton of spell swords though, so being able to chase them down, it could happen.
Okay, I mean, there's so much action happening on the map. I barely have a moment to actually realize how beautiful some of these things are. I mean, there's these statues like in the jungle here, the glowing orbs. It's just like eye candy for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's almost impossible to believe this is on mobile. And the beauty of it, Zekan, is you've optimized it for everybody that can play 3v3 on their device, can play 5v5, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone who has 3v3 on Vainglory on their phone right now or on their device, you know, go and play 5v5 when it comes out. And just to add to that a little bit, this is not even final. The R team has so much more to go. When you see this release, it'll be even more epic.
NA, good rotation to take down a singular split pusher of Uni, but SEA are biting back with the split push of their own. They're going to get 2 turrets here as Chingy picks up the bot lane tier 1, but NA are straight onto the back. Chuck looking to put pressure down.
Now you see the rotation from the backside there, and it feels like it's an easy gank, but Chingy, he knows the rotation through this jungle. After burn over the wall, you're not going to chase this guy down.
Shinkaigen's opened up with a Crucible here. It looks like it is going to eventually move into that double supportive style. And, you know, in some ways that feels necessary in 5v5 because of all the different types of CC that you have to negotiate. This could be a big fight, though. 2 members not here for SEA. NA go in.
Yeah, they jump in. A big stun onto SNK. He turns around. Blast Trimmer blocked off. You can tell. North America ready for that one. And now, suddenly, 5 heroes for North America to the 3 of Southeast Asia. Will be 4 soon as Vox joins this fight. Lucky Bread dropping low, uses the fountain. They turn around, Chingy is popped. Remember, Flash X, he's still on Ghost Wing over here. What? He's all business. Solar Storm's gonna come on through. I don't even know if they can actually still stay on. Yes, they can. Tessa Boy down. North America's roasting SEA. Oh no, it's a disaster. Spaghetti's the only member alive.
And that's an incredible play coming out from North America. They knew there was a gigantic minion wave pushing their bot lane. They had to force something. They actually lost a turret.
And they're going for Blackclaw again now. It looks like it's Flash trying to solo out Blackclaw by the rest of the members of North America, try and push these lanes back. They want to set up a slow push in the side lanes, then work with Blackclaw once it gets released. This is huge from North America. SEA have got a very spaghetti-orientated composition. He is a hyper carry. Here goes Flash.
And that is the power of Joy there, being able to tank up all the damage as long as her heavy plating is facing forward.
Someone needs to nerf Flash at this point. I think like he's too OP.
And we talked about macro tactics. We talked about Flash X's understanding of the game. This is starting to show here. Von C also has great experience in these kinds of situations too. And a lot of shot calling probably going on for North America right now as they have a huge advantage to try and push this game in for a win. There's Blackclaw marching down. Flash is in a side lane.
Up top. I mean, you're going to deal with this huge dragon running. Why wouldn't you try to kill this dragon marching down your middle lane? And North America's here with 4, but Flash is up in top. Uni's going to try and dissuade that push. But this is going to be the Armory taking damage now. Vein Crystal wants some of this. It's going to start throwing out attacks as well. Lucky Bread tanks those up on the front side. A big red button, not the big damage source for the Jewel, but he hangs out doing damage from long range here. Armory, just a matter of moments before it goes down. A Thunder Strike will clean that up. Blackclaw still alive at this point. What will be the call? NA, hang around. They're going to keep SEA busy right inside the mid lane here. Flash still going up to top, but he needs to get the minions forward. Huge damage. SNK is down. They've traded though. Lucky Bread falls. Von C as well. Chuck has huge burst damage. It's the buckshot bonanza of buckshots, we could say, come raining on through as the full item builds coming together. The Vein Crystal has taken significant damage. Spaghetti on that broomstick runs forward, maybe looking for somebody. The top turret has gone down as well. SEA hanging on by a thread.
And this is exactly how you use these game-ending objectives. You take the Ghost Wing, you make sure you have that buff, you make sure any fight that you take will go in your favor. And then you get the Black Claw, pushing down mid lane and let you split up. Your opponents, they need to decide, do they want to engage you? Do they want to take down Black Claw? If they take too long, they just lose.
You just don't see this in the 3v3 iteration of Vainglory. You don't see this tactical diversity. In 3v3, you are forced to teamfight to end the game because you have a singular lane to push through. In this, you don't need to teamfight. You can push on every single lane. And BestChuck was doing a great job of stalling and slowing out the SEA members with that CP Gwen while disengaging himself, allowing FlashX space to go and push that top lane. SEA were torn between Blacklaw and dealing with Flash, pushing that top lane.
You talked about the strategy that Flash brings to the table, and I think that's a really good point. I mean, a lot of times you want heavily mechanically players with heavy mechanical ability on your team, but you might just have a mastermind who maybe doesn't stack up the way Vonsi does, but can make those shot calls in the moment. It's so big here.
Exactly. It's not all about mechanical skill now. Suddenly your game sense, your game knowledge, the way you approach the game becomes that much more important. There is a role for everybody. You might not be that monster that 1v1s everybody, but you could have the brain for 5v5. And that's showing here, you know, across all of these members.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is very, very important. You don't have to be a mechanical god. You just have to outplay and outthink your opponents. Be one step ahead, and that's all you need.
Objectives will be coming up fairly shortly.
24 minutes in, North America up into the top lane at this point. Now they've taken this base turret down. They want to get into that armory and take that down as well. It means that lane will automatically push forward just naturally.
Yeah, SEA caught off guard here, no vision, and they actually have to back off and get their Shinkaiga
Two
goes in.
impale, the Githing wall knocks them back. They don't have the stun Chingy though. He's gonna be back on the BestChuck. BestChuck, huge damage. If he can get back in, that's exactly what North America need. This armory taking big damage. It's down, well, maybe just 55% or so. But yeah, it's okay. He goes down, but his team, they want to take the armory. It's worth it if they can get it, and they've taken it down. They've lost two, but if the rest of their team can stay alive, this is still a big win for them. Lucky Red winds up for the Holy Nova. Maybe he regrets that one, but it's going to be okay for NA.
Wow, that's exactly what North America wanted. They just wanted to take down the armory. They've got two lanes pushing as Shinkaigan goes to deal with the bot side, but Ghostwing has spawned, and Blacklaw will shortly after. SEA look to exploit the man advantage they have and take the objective that might land them back into this game.
Yeah, this is where you have to question, did North America extend too far?
Yeah.
Did they push a little bit too far? They took down the armory, but Southeast Asia, with this Ghostwing, they might be also going for the Black Claw.
Remember, BestChuck has got a very high damaging ability like this. Look at the pressure he's putting on with just that buckshot. They have to be so careful, SEA, right now.
Ooh. Oh, BestChuck, you got a lot of damage, but you are incredibly squishy. Shinkaigan, show me something here. Show me something, Shinkaigan. All right, he's not going to pull the trigger on that one. Can't blame him. Scary situation when you're dealing with 5 members of SEA.
And they're going straight for Blacklaw now as well. Lucky Bread yet to respawn. Blacklaw is going to be the focus of SEA, pulling exactly what North America did against them. This could be a game-ending push for SEA, remember. They can take this and run with it in the mid lane.
However, Southeast Asia, their Vayne Crystal is completely exposed. North America, they have a lot of options here. They can go for a potential backdoor.
Exactly, the backdoor is real. You have 2 lanes pushing in favor of North America as well right now. If North America can hold on here, they are in a good position to try and get their way back in.
And this is also, I mean, there's so many reasons why Vision's incredibly important, but especially in moments like this. SEA, yeah, they have a massive advantage, but if someone does sneak back in there, exactly like Lucky Bread, now, I'm curious if he's gonna, yeah, he's just gonna drop some vision and get out. Oh, Lucky Bread, that's not the one you wanted, bud. Well, he has his boots to try to get out. They might lose Lucky Bread here for nothing. He's going to be stunned up and taken down, but NA are on that Black Claw.
You'd say it's nothing, but they are on that Black Claw. And if they do manage to take it down, and you have to look, FlashX, he does have the teleport boots. They are ready.
FlashX has got teleport boots. A Jewel, so good at taking down objectives, so good at punishing huge amounts of damage. FlashX was looking for the opportunity, and Lucky Bread, I think, was trying to set up for it.
So what units can you teleport to on the map? I mean, do you have to have something for it? And maybe is that why the scout cam was getting put down?
Absolutely. Scout cams, minions, structures. you can teleport to most allied things. You can't teleport to Black Cloud, you can't teleport to heroes, but almost everything else.
All right, it makes a whole lot more sense now, maybe why that deep scout cam was going down. SEA still riding that Ghost Wing buff at this point. That's pretty scary as they march on forward here.
Look how diverse builds have become here. Spaghetti's gone for a 5 CP item build, knowing that he's got plenty of protection to back him up. He might feel that he doesn't even need a reflex block for how hard it is to get through that front line that the SEA roster has.
Now keep your eyes up in this top lane. That lane is pushing forward and it will naturally do so. SEA cannot afford to just let that move on its own. They're going to go ahead and back up here. NA kind of flexing their power on this defense.
One of the drawbacks of teleport boots is that you don't have a sprint, you just have the teleport. So the drawback of it is that you don't get that immediate burst of speed for those tense situations, but you have the flexibility to make your presence known across the map.
Yeah, I can see North America is actually taking advantage of the fact that they have 2 armories down to really draw Southeast Asia back into their base.
Yeah.
Now they know where all of them are, is their chance to take control of this jungle.
Yeah, they took that crystal buff away, I believe, and handed it over to Best Chuck, who is now at a full build. We are at the late game stages of this game. Everybody riding on 5 items. No one really dragging behind. SNK is sitting on minion candy still, maybe looking to help defend against those sort of weakened waves of his own.
Yeah,
even EU 3 vs 3, we never saw 90k net worth. That's pretty tasty.
There is 2 more players to generate gold there, Humanist.
Yeah. Of course, just maths.
Look at the map.
So good at.
Southeast Asia, they're completely blind. North America are completely taking control of the vision on this map right now.
Nothing to bait for it, though, right now, Zekan. If Black Claw was up, maybe... Oh, Javonsi, well, goodness me, going in. But, you know, if they have control of this and then Black Claw spawns, that's a really, really good position to bring SEA to face check and set up for a big fight for North America.
Absolutely, and this game is so incredibly even. All these heroes building towards their full item build. Best Chuck and A, Von C just taking a couple more camps away from Southeast Asia.
Infusions need refreshing here for North America. It is going to be Ghost Wing spawning fairly soon. 20 seconds.
This is dangerous.
Well, they
have no idea.
They have no idea. This is a surprise brush. SNK, now he's about the tankiest hero from SEA. He's going to be rooted up. Stormguard comes out. They block off the blast trimmer. That's about as good as he could, but he's got 2. That lands on to 3. The chase is on. Fearsome Shade, the Storm rips on through. Shade Kaigan sets up with the appeal, but Flash X is down. That's their huge damage source. NA, can they stay alive? The Divine Intervention comes out, but it's not on Devontae. Devontae's fallen. SEA have taken a massive advantage. They have not lost anybody, and suddenly Lucky Bread's left for dead. Shin Kaigan has fallen. SEA appear to be doing it at this point. And we also have Ghost Wing and Black Claw that have just spawned on the map.
Yeah, and you saw right there, North America, they thought they had the Death Rush. But the Catherine, she face checked first. She was completely fine. She tanked all of the damage coming out from North America.
And North America don't really have a safe team fight composition against what SEA are bringing to the table. SEA have got a ranged hyper carry Celeste. They've got Uni, who's now at 3 items full build. You've got a very heavy hitting Tezza on this Batiste as well. You know, you have a lot of melee threat coming out from North America and a very low damage output. CP Gwen, she likes to play the range. She likes to play poke style team fights. She's not good in these massive onslaught team fights that SEA function far better in.
Absolutely, but look at the vision control in Southeast Asia jungle from the side of North America. Will they go for those teleport boots?
Check out Flash. He's got teleport boots.
Shin Kaigan too.
He's heading towards the bot lane.
Oh, double teleport
Double
boots.
teleport. This could be an attempted backdoor if SEA push very hard with Black Claw here.
But the vision's just gone down.
Oh no. They've just lost all their vision.
I mean, they could also port one person up into the minion wave, right?
Yeah,
Get him into position, then port onto him, right?
Absolutely. They can teleport onto a scout cam.
Best Chuck's probably going to do his best with Buckshot here to try and ward the Southeast Asian composition away with this Black Claw, but he's going to be waiting in the wings. He has got that big minion wave to work with in the top lane. Flash could look for... He could look for a teleport.
I mean, honestly,
he's going for it.
He's going.
Is he going for it right now? The port up in the top, they both go. They're going to force ports back, and the rest of the team will look to do work onto the Black Claw and also cancel any teleports. The chase is on. Best Chuck's there. He has the area of effect damage, but 2 of SEA have snuck back. Von C, no fear, just fight. Get in there, but he's feared back. Huge fearsome shade. The Divine Intervention, but Shin Kaigan's here. Flash X, they're closing onto the back. No retreat. Another peel for Chingy. Oh! Shin Kaigan! SNK, can he get the disables for his team? They're going to be able to block off the stun now. Kiting backwards, NA, they have the advantage. The fountain comes out. SNK's down. NA, they take 2. They lose nothing. Tezza Boy, all he can do is throw the fearsome shade. SEA's on the back foot. If North America do not lose any heroes, they will be closing this game out. They jump in. Uni split apart from this game.
No!
Oh!
And that was epic.
I mean, that was probably just too many impales getting hit.
Shin Kaigen went way too hard there.
Oh my word.
I couldn't handle it.
That was incredible play coming out from both of these teams. Oh.
It looks like they're still going. I think it was just our spectator side because Flash is still in the game. It looks like North America is still going in. We'll jump straight back in. We'll jump back in.
Shin's being a good sport. He's like, I don't know, should I kill him? Should I end the game?
Just leave him alone for a little bit.
Not
It's all
exactly
good.
sure. Obviously, things were getting pretty intense right there. I mean, were mistakes made? Were these guys? Was North America just outplaying their
We're
opponent?
back.
We're back.
The Black Claw's pushing.
Black Claw's
The
pushing.
Vain Crystal.
Oh, but they have to get back. Now they can't get in there and actually finish with this push. Suddenly, we're at 33.5 minutes, and this game is still very much alive.
Okay, Black Claw died.
Black Claw's down. All right, and here we reset. North America, that's an incredible play coming out from them. They were able to teleport behind enemy lines, force people to recall, and then flank the remaining members.
Yeah, that was the key part. I mean, it drew Southeast Asia back. 2 members back to deal with the North American teleport, and then they saw the back happen, so they knew they hadn't stopped everybody from backing. They then flanked onto the Celeste, the key target from Southeast Asia. Shin Kaigen set up with some amazing impales, and they were able to take down the key hyper carry from Southeast Asia, but it wasn't enough to push on to the Southeast Asia Crystal, and we are still in the game. Still going for another objective rotation with Ghostwing landing in 20 seconds. This is going to be an all-out brawl for this objective.
Very much so, but now we have these deep scout cams in for North America, and you have to be concerned now.
Flash.
They pull the trigger, they're on to Flash. This is a big jump in here. Flash X stunned in. He's taken down. The Divine Intervention cannot keep him alive. Lucky Brett watching in
Look at
horror.
Monsi.
Best Chuck, though. He's moving in. They're going to
Monsi,
keep
Chicago.
SEA alive. This is the Rona and the Lance up in the top lane, though. Keep your eyes on that minimap. Best Chuck will go down. Lucky Brett just has to buy time.
Just has to buy time.
Won't be
Lucky
enough.
Brett.
Just has to buy
It's so
time.
incredibly valuable.
They're going for
The
it.
impact.
They're going
on
for
with
it.
False
I can't
Cutter.
believe
They're
it.
getting on the Vain Crystal.
Will
Can
get
they stay
up.
alive? Falsey. He's going down. The Vain Crystal down on 20% health. Shin Kaigen. He can't do it. It's not enough. He's taken down. Now SEA. Can they? What do they do? Do they push? Do they take Ghost
We have time to end the game.
They've got an open Vein Crystal in the middle lane right
Those
there.
respawns are way too long.
I mean, Flash X is up in 20, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. SEA are going to run straight down the middle.
You can do it, Lucky Brad. For North America. Be the hero.
Be the hero, Lucky
Be the
Brad.
hero. Lucky Brad, no! SEA! Do it for your home crowd. They're in. They're onto the Vain Crystal. They have the damage. Solar Storm comes on through. And why not? It just makes sense. SEA! Make the plays. Turn the game around. And take the game. That was a thing of beauty.
What a last-minute turnaround right there. Flash X caught out on the side lanes. Vision control was not so good. They hadn't had the opportunity to place the scout cameras down in their bottom side jungle, and a roaming gank squad that had set up for Ghostwing from Southeast Asia.
Let's look at these guys.
I know.
They're having a great time.
I mean, you could see, even in the loss, it was a fantastic loss. You can hear the crowd appreciate it as well. That was such a close game of 5v5. And for these guys from North America who haven't had as much time to prepare, they really put on a great show.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is such an incredible series. I mean, not even a series, just incredible games all around.
Yeah.
Watching these teams come out with these new innovative strategies. They haven't been playing on 5v5 for a very long time. And you've seen the crazy complexity, the crazy strategies that have come out.
They've been dreaming about it, though, Zeke, and it does count for something.
Absolutely. Closing, on this 5v5 segment, that was our last 5v5 game of the day, you saw a real illustration of how exciting and how quick these games can end, but also these long, drawn-out base race games, they still exist in 5v5, and they are that much more exciting with so many different decisions to consider. That attempted backdoor by North America, it was great, but they couldn't hold off the Southeast Asian composition from backing in time. And then they finally made that killing blow. But both teams were so close. What a closely matched game, Humanist.
Well, they play for the fans, right? We can appreciate that. Flash GX doing it for us. But, it's a good whatever. We got a bunch of analysts on the desk. Guys, break it down.
so much, guys. What a game coming out between North America and Southeast Asia. I don't think that could have been any closer. Yeah. They even tried to rush the Vein Crystal at the end. North America got shut out, and then the rush across the map from Southeast Asia. Playoff Beard, talk to me. What was going on?
Well, hashtag rigged, I think. We got Mr. Burns, our head of APAC, in the front row. I think he pulled out a plug or something, but no, really here, you know, this is still in alpha. And the graphics are in alpha, the game is in alpha. That's why the launch is in February. So we almost got through the whole thing without a little glitch there, but it's understandable given that this is still in progress. But really, my takeaway is that if these pros are getting onto the map for the first time and we're seeing games like this, what is it going to be like next year?
Honestly, the objective trading that we saw coming out across this game and like the value that was being pulled out of these objectives, just these teams that have been playing barely any time, managing to do so much on the map. I cannot wait to see where we're going to be in